Hello guys, welcome back to another Android Studio tutorial. In today's episode, we are going to learn about how to add an action bar into your Android application. So the action bar is one of the most important GUI component of an Android application. The action bar will give an identity for the application. Also, you can place your application title, your activity title, your application icon, etc. on the action bar. Also, you can place some important action of your application on the action bar, such as searching, settings, sharing. You can place a lot of options on the action bar. So the action bar is the best place for the user to interact with your application. So here I am going to create a simple Android application that will demonstrate how the action bar will work with your application. So create a new Android Studio project. So before going to create the project, you need to know something about the origin of action bar. The action bar is available from Android version 3.0 and above. So if you want to display the action bar on Android version lower than 3.0, you have to add supporting libraries into your application project. Okay. So for Android version 3.0 and above, that means API version 11 and above, there is an action bar is available with all the activities. So if you create an activity on Android version 3.0 and above, by default there is an action bar is available. Okay. Anyway, here we are going to create a new Android application. So create a new Android Studio project. Name it as action bar demo. Click next. So the action bar is available from Android version 3.0 and above and API version 11. So here I make the minimum SDK version into API 11 and click next. Here is a blank activity. So each activity when you create, there is an action bar is available. So here I create a blank activity, but there is an action bar is available with each of the activity. Okay, so click next. Here is the activity name, is layout name, title and menu resource name, etc. and click finish. Okay, now here we have the project available on Android Studio, and here is the activity main.xml file. So for each activity there is an action bar is available. So we have to check it out. So first we have to check on the Android manifest.xml file. So here you can see the theme of the application, Android theme. It is referred from the styles.xml file with an identifier app theme. So we can check it out on the values folder inside the styles.xml file. Here is the style. The style name is theme.appcompat.light dark action bar. So there is already an action bar is available with this activity. There is no need to add an action bar into this activity because here the minimum SDK version is 3.0 and above. Okay, so there is no need to add an action bar to Android version 3.0 and above. Okay, so now we have an action bar is already available with this activity. So before going to do anything on this application, I just run the application now. Okay, here we have the application available on a virtual device. Here is the activity main.xml file that contain an action bar. The action bar contains the application title, and at the right side you can see 3 dots. This is called an overflow icon. That means there is something hidden behind the icon. Okay, so I just click the icon. Here you can see a settings option is available. So this is the action bar that contain the application name, and there is only one action item is available on the action bar, that is called the settings. Okay, actually we are not adding anything into the action bar or anything to the activity, but by default we have an action bar and we have the title of the application on the action bar, and there is an item called the settings is available on the action bar. So all these things are created by the Android Studio. So we have to check it out on the code how this will display on the activity. So go to the main activity.java Here we have two method called on create options menu and on options item selected. These two methods are responsible for adding the item into the action bar. So here from this method we inflate something called r.menu main. This is something a resource file inside the menu folder. We can check it out. Inside the menu folder there is a menu main.xml file. Open that one. Here this XML file contains an item called settings. Here is the title of the item is settings. There is some attributes are available. Okay, so these are the components that place the settings options on the action bar. So on the main activity there is a method called on create options menu. Inside this method we get some menu inflator object, and by using that object we inflate something called an XML file on the menu folder, and that menu folder contains some XML file that contains some items. Actually that is the item. There is only one item is available on the menu main.xml, that is with the title settings, that is actually displayed here on the action bar. Okay, so now here I am going to avoid all these things. Now I am going to add some items into the action bar manually, so you can understand the concepts of action bar more clear. Okay, so go to the main activity.java file. Here we already have these two methods. I remove all these generated method. So now we are going to add all these method manually, and I close all these XML file. Okay, so the action bar, you can place your application title, your application icon, etc. on the action bar. But here there is only application title is available, there is no icon is available. This is because from API version 21 and above, Google discourage placing icon with the title. That's why it is not available here. And if you want to add your icon also, you have to add the icon as a logo to the action bar. So here I am going to add the icon into the action bar. So you need to add some code segments. First thing, you need to create an object of action bar. Just create an object of action bar. I name it as action bar equal to get action bar. Call the method called get action bar. Okay, now you have to call a method called set logo. So action bar dot call the method called set logo, and you have to specify the drawable folder. You have to specify the icon of your application. So the icon is available on the drawable folder IC launcher. Okay, so there is something mistake. Yeah, it is available from API 14 onwards. This method is valid from API 14 onwards. So we have to add the supporting libraries. So here instead of this one, I have to use the supporting libraries. So get support action bar, get supported action bar, and here you need to use the action bar from the supporting library. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, now we add the icon as a logo. Also we have to set something called action bar dot set display use logo. You have to call that method. Yeah, this one, and make it into true. Also you have to call another method called set display show home action bar dot set display show home. It is not show home enabled. Yeah, this one, show home enabled, and make this one also true. Okay, this will add an icon into the action bar. So we can check it out. I run the application again. Now here in the action bar we have the icon and the title of the application. Okay, so now there is no item on the action bar because I already removed the method from the main activity. That's why the overflow icon is now disappeared, because there is no action item on the action bar. Okay, now here I am going to add some item into the action bar. So first thing, we need some icons for the items. So you need to download some icon from the developer website. So open your browser. Okay, now search something called Android icon download or icon bundle, anything. Icon pack free download. Go to the first search result, go to this website, developer website, go to the downloads. Yeah, here go to the material icon collection. Yeah, from here you can download the needed icon set. So here I am going to add two items. First one is search and settings. So we have to add two icons, search and settings. So we have to find out icons for search and settings. Here it is, search and settings. So first I download the search icon, and here I use a dark action bar. So I have to display some white items, white icons. So I select the white icons and download it as PNG images. Download the first image. Okay, now I'm going to download the settings icon. Also it is white icon, and download it as PNG image. Now here we have two icons set, the search icon and settings icon. Okay, now here is the two files. I'm going to extract the files here, extract here. This is the settings icon. Now extract the search icon, extract here. Okay, now we have the two icons set. Go to open the folder, and that folder contains some three other folder. Go to the Android folder. Here you can see the different resolution of the same image is available on each of these folder. So for getting support from different screen sizes, you have to put the different resolution of the same image on your application. So for the training purpose, here I just copy the icon available on the HDPI folder. Copy this one, go to Android Studio and paste it on the drawable folder. Paste it, put it in the HDPI folder and click OK, and click OK. Okay, now we have to add the second icon, that is the settings icon. Go to Android, go to the HDPI folder, copy the needed icon and paste it in Android Studio drawable folder. Paste it here in drawable HDPI folder. Click OK. Okay, now we have the two icons available on the drawable folder. Now we have to add some menu items. We have to add some menu items on the menu folder. We have to create some menu resource file on the menu folder. So right click the menu folder and create a new menu resource file. Okay, I name it as activity main actions and click OK. Now here we have a menu resource file. Now you need to add each of the item. First you have to provide an ID for the item. Android ID plus ID. The first item is the search item, so I name it as search. Search ID. Okay. Another needed attribute is title for the item. So you have to add a title for the item. So Android title, I name it as search. Okay, these are the two necessary attribute for the item. Now we have to add an icon for the item. So Android icon available on the drawable folder, and it is IC search icon. So IC search, this one. Okay, and add another attribute, Android show as action. I use never. Yeah, here there is something problem. You need to copy something from the menu main.xml file. You have to add some namespaces. This one, copy this one, go to the activity main.action and paste it here. Some namespace is needed here, so instead of Android you have to use that one, app. There is still something error. Yeah, you need to put it inside that bracket, inside this bracket, that is the error. Yeah, now it's fine. Okay, so now here we have only one item called search item, and that have a title and an icon. Okay, so I'm going to run this application. Sorry, before going to run, we have to add this item into the action bar. So go to main activity. So for adding items into the action bar, you have to override some method called onCreateOptions menu. So from this method you can add the items into the action bar. So for adding the items into the action bar, first thing you need to create an object of menu inflator. So here I create an object of menu inflator, name it as menu inflator, equal to get menu inflator. Okay, so by using this object you can inflate that menu XML into the action bar. So menu inflator dot inflate. First you have to specify the XML resource file r.menu dot. Here it is activity main actions. Also the second argument you need to specify, you need to pass an object of menu. Here we already have a menu object as an argument, so pass that one. Okay, so now this will display a search icon on the action bar, so we can check it out. Now here I am going to run this application now. Okay, now here we have the application available on a virtual device, but here there is nothing on the action bar, but there is an overflow icon is available. I click the overflow icon and here is the search option, but there is no icon display here. Instead only title is showing here. So why the icon is not shown here? So you can go to the activity into the menu XML file, and here I add an attribute called show as action, and I use a value never. That means it is never show on the action bar. Instead it is always hidden by using the overflow icon. That's why the icon is not showing. So if you hide your action, if your item using the overflow icon, it will display the title instead of the icon. So I use never, that means it is hidden behind the overflow icon. So the user can view the item by clicking the overflow icon. So, and if you want to display the item on the action bar, instead of never you have to use always. Show as action, use show as action always. Okay, instead of Android here you have to use app. Okay, so this will display the icon on the action bar, so we can check it out. I run the application again. Okay, now on the action bar you can see the search icon. So there is no title, there is only icon is visible, and there is no overflow icon is available because there is nothing hidden on the action bar. So now the search icon is available on the action bar, and you can view the title of the icon by holding the item. So if I hold the item, it will display the title of the item. Okay, so now here I add one item, and now here I am going to add another item with ID Android. First you have to specify the ID plus ID. It is settings ID. Now specify a title for the item, Android title. I name it as settings. Okay, now specify icon for the item available from the drawable folder. It is settings icon settings. Okay, also specify the visibility of the item using Android. Instead of Android, use the namespace app Android show as action, and here I use never. So that means now the settings icon is hidden on the action bar. So now in this case there is only one item is available, so there is no need of the overflow icon. But if I run the application again, there is a second item is available, but it is hidden on the action bar, so the overflow icon will appear again. So instead of Android, here I have to use app. Okay, so now we can check the application again, run the application again. Okay, so now on the action bar we have the search icon and the overflow icon. I click the overflow icon, it will show the other option called settings. Okay, now instead of never, here also I change that one into always. So this will display the two icons on the action bar. Check it again. Okay, now on the action bar we have the two options, the search option and the settings option, because here show as action is always for these two items, that's why it is always appear on the action bar. Okay, and now we are going to learn about how to respond to the click events of the action item. The user can select an item, so we have to respond to the click events of the item. For that, go to the main activity.java. Here you need to override another method called on option item selected. This one, on options item selected. Here we get an object of menu item, so use a switch case statement. So the first thing, we have to get the ID of the selected item, so use the method item dot get item ID. So now we have to compare the ID of each item. The first case, if it is equal to r.id dot, if it is equal to settings ID, we have to find out, check the ID of the items. The first one is search ID and settings ID. If it is equal to r.id dot settings ID, that means the user select the settings item from the action bar. So here display some message. Get application context. Settings option selected. Okay, and finally make the toast, make length for the toast into long, and finally make it visible using show method. Okay, and if you handle some item click events, you need to return true. So return true. Okay, this is the first case. Now the second case is r.id dot search ID, this one. So again display some message using toast, copy this one, search option selected, also return true, and in the default case we have to call the superclass method. Okay, so we can check it again. Okay, now we have the two item on the action bar. I select the first item, search option. Now the search option is selected. Now select the second option, settings. Settings option is selected. I hope you understand the basic concepts of action bar in Android. See you in the next episode.